Alright guys, welcome back to Do It Yourself Backyard. Today I'm going to tackle a couple of projects. First one's going to be a new hour meter that will be going onto my brand new motor from my boat, and it's a Johnson Ocean Runner 200. I just got it back. It's brand new. I've only got 45 minutes on it right now in the test tank, but I want to get an hour meter on this one. The last one I had lasted over 20 years, but we just got done with this one. Got it all put back together, redoing, torquing the bolts and everything on it. But I'm going to add an hour meter to my boat up on the console, and that way I got the actual hours on the boat here. And the part number for this is 0765439, and it's Johnson Evinrude genuine parts. The next project is going to be a 1.8 gallon oil reservoir, and the part number on that is 5008617. So I am going to install this today and install the hour meter. So I'll walk through all the steps, everything I need, tools, so on and so forth, and this will be easy hookup. It's just 2 wires, and I'll hook that up to my on-off switch up at the ignition. And then after that, we'll route the wires and stuff back through the transom and then back to the motor and hook everything up to the VRO. Alrighty, well, I'll get some parts and tools out and everything that we need, and we will go from there. Alright guys, next thing here. Alright, so I've decided the location of where I'm going to install my hour meter on my dash. But what comes in this kit is, of course, the gauge itself. There's just 2 wires to hook up on the back of it. The backing plate. And then inside the little packet are 2 nuts and washers to go on the backing plate to hold that in. You will have to have your own wires to put onto the back for your positive and negative to get power to this. And also, before you do this, always cut the power off on your boat. That way you don't short anything out if you end up hooking up by chance to the wrong wire or anything like that. So what I've decided is that I am going to, with my cluster that I have here on the dash, I really have nothing to replace here. Don't have any extra room to put anything on here. I don't want to put it right here. I think I'm going to end up putting it over here on the side, just directly above the tilt and trim. It's out of the way there. Tried to get my drill down in here, but I got a lot of other stuff that's underneath the dash here. So let's go take a look at that, and you can see what I've got going on. So let's slip up underneath of here. And this is where we're going to work here. So up underneath the dash here, where I was underneath the steering wheel, I've got a block right here with all the negative wires going to there. So I don't want to mount that there. So my other place is right here, and you can see I've got plenty of room to work in this area right here to get that drilled through. And then I'll connect my wires over here to the starting switch, my red to the purple, and then my black negative to the ground. 2 wire hookup. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a center point, get where I'm going to mount my gauge, drill a tap hole, and then use my 2 1/8 circular saw to cut a hole through this. I've got a little bit over 3/4 of an inch of material to cut through here. So I'll drill that out and we'll mount that up. Alright, all the other tools and stuff that I'm going to need here. I got my electrical kit with all my little different connections and stuff in here. And these are always good to have at home. You know, wire ties, all that, crimpers, cutters, and then all your wire nuts, connectors, and stuff like that. I got a spool of wire there for negative, positive. Got some wire ties, got a cutter, 5/16 to 1/4 inch wrench, tighten up the bolts, and some electrical tape, and my bits so I can drill my pilot hole. Alrighty, well, I'm going to get my drill set up and then we'll start cutting. Alright guys, I got a starting point right here with my pilot bit. I got my 2 and 1/8 inch hole saw, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut through this dash and make my hole for the gauge. There we go. All right, we got a hole. And this should slide right on down in there. Perfect. Nice flush mount right there. That looks good. Where I can sit and see it. I'll come back later after I hook everything up, and I'll put a thin bead of caulking around here, some clear silicone, and then mount that right there. Alright, now it's time to get up underneath the console and put the backing plate on and cut some wires. Alrighty, let's hit up underneath there. Alright, so this is the backing plate that comes with it. Lines up with the 2 holes for the bolts right here. And put your nuts on those. It came with the packet that's in the kit. Now what I've noticed, because the thickness of my console, that I don't have any distance for the bolts to come through. So what I'm going to end up doing is this piece I'm going to modify so I can get the nuts on the bolts there. I'm going to cut these tabs off right here. I'm going to cut these flush and have it hold in place like that. So I'm going to get back out from up underneath it here, go cut those off, and then we'll put the nuts and washers on this thing and secure it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a pair of side cutters. I'm going to cut all these tabs off right here, and that way I can get a little bit more distance and more bolts sticking through the holes. Alright, and that should give me more than enough right there. Alright, let's go back up underneath there. We'll try that. Alright, I changed my mind about those little tabs that were left on there. What I ended up doing, I came in here to get a nice flush fit all the way around. I just used my flat bench grinder wheel, and it's just plastic, so it didn't take much. But I just took all of them and just took them down flush all the way around, because the side cutters did not take them down as far as I needed to. So now I got a good flush surface to put this on. Alright, let's go back up in the boat and mount this on up. Alright, in the kit comes nuts and washers for this, for the backing plate. I'm going to take those out and set them down here on the toolbox. You'll have to excuse me, I am in cramped quarters here. It's very, very tight. So I'm going to do my best so you can see this. Okay, plenty of room now. All right, there's one. And we'll get the second one on here just to help hold it in place. All right, well, that worked out good. Let's move the camera up here. All right, that worked out good. So there's my gauge. And like I said, I'll come back. I still got locking rings to put on these. I'm gonna get my length of wires for my positive and my negative. I gotta get some caulking. I'll come back and I'll seal around the gauge on the outside of the dash. But I'm gonna go get some wire right now and start cutting some lengths of that, crimp those, and then I will hook those up. All right, so I need a positive and negative wire. I'm gonna cut about 14 inches of wire and a positive wire, and then I'm gonna get my negative wire. All right, the connections I'm going to use are just little round ones that go onto the little nubs behind the units. All right, so I'll strip some wire in here. And then I'm going to use this style on the back of the gauge. It's just going to be a whole lot easier for what I got going on. Okay, I'll put one identical to it on a negative. I am going to wrap a little bit with some electrical tape. Just because this is a saltwater boat, just wrap the ends just a little bit, couple wraps. All right, got my lengths of wires cut here. But before I install them, I'm going to use a little bit of electrical contact grease, and you can pick this up, a little silicone grease, at a auto parts store, hardware store, Lowe's, or anything like that. Because, like I said, this is a saltwater boat, so and it's always good just to use a little bit of contact grease anyway. All right. So on this one, the positive is on the right-hand side. On. All right, and now the negative. All right, like I said before, I still got to seal that with some caulking up there. So, all right, guys, got my wires hooked up to my hour meter. Got the red one on positive there, as you can see on the back. The black to the negative. And my battery switch is off, because now what I got to do, I just pulled my purple wire off the ignition switch there, and my black one negative, got them pulled off, and I've got to splice into these two here and hook my gauges up, the hour meter up into that. All right, well, I'm going to sit back here, I'm going to cut these wires and then splice these up, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, I have made my connection, like I said, from my hour meter. I have come over and traced to the purple wire on the ignition switch as recommended. I've also connected my negative to the negative side on the ignition switch. All right, so what I'm going to do now, while I'm up underneath the console here, I'm going to retape up all this stuff. I'm going to use some wire ties, tie this up to the harness. Well, I've got everything up underneath it here, and tidy all of this up, and then we'll we'll go out and check everything, and it should be just fine. Alrighty, well, let me do this while I'm up underneath here, and then we'll go check it out. Alrighty guys, got all my taping and stuff done. Got everything wrapped up with electrical tape, all my splices and everything were. Got that looking all nice and neat, and then I pulled the rest of my wiring up. Used some wire ties, heading over towards the hour meter. Got that tied in, and now we're ready to go turn the power on and see if the meter works. All right, let's head on out here. I'll get myself out of this console, and we'll see what we got. All righty, we'll walk over here. We'll get some power turned on. That dual battery switch here. I'm just going to turn it to one battery here. Get that power on there. All right, everything looks good there. Walk back over here to the console. Okay, so switch is in. I have the power hooked up to the ignition switch, so when the ignition switch comes on, and of course the boat is running, then the hour meter is running. I don't ever sit with my key switch just on once I'm anchored up chumming for fish or listening to the radio or anything like that. I've got all my electronics hooked up to another power panel, and that way I do not have to have the key on to have my accessories working. I recommend that, especially if you have an hour meter on here, because if that key switch is on, that is running, and you don't want inaccurate hours that you have on your motor because that key switch is on and you're not actually running. All right, so let's try the key switch here, and we'll listen to the alarms go through, and we'll watch this. There we go. All right, the clock is ticking, so switch is working, or hour meter is working. All right, nice little quick easy setup. I'll turn that off, and this thing lasts just a few seconds after you turn the key off, then it goes off. Let's try it again. All right, looks good. And then it cuts off when you turn the key off. All right, well guys, I certainly hope y'all enjoyed that. That was fun, and like I said, that's just an hour meter switch, and you can pick these up if you can get hour meter for any motor you want. You know, I recommend it for a new one, especially if you've got warranty work and stuff on it that you have. That way you're very accurate with everything you have. Not many tools and stuff needed for this, just a little bit of time. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will tackle later on. I've got my 1.8 gallon kit I need to put on for my oil reservoir. Alrighty, till next time, thanks for stopping in and watching. We'll see y'all soon.